Morning we were talking about TCP/IP. So let me share my screen. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible to you. Okay, done. So we were here, right? So what we were discussing in the morning, we were discussing about TCP/IP protocol. There we started with the standard, which is called ISO OSI model, where we had 7 layers. Starting with application, then presentation session, then transport, then network, and then data link layer, and finally physical layer. And we got to know the application of each and every layer. After that, we moved to the TCP/IP model, which is actually used in our internet. And there we have 4 layers. Layer 1 is application layer. Then layer 2 is actually transport layer. Layer 3 is network layer, and finally it is a data link layer. Right, so these 4 layers we were discussing, and application layer protocol we discussed like FTP, HTTP, and all. And then we discussed about 2 main transport layer protocols, TCP and UDP. Right, TCP is connection oriented, UDP is connectionless, that we already discussed. Then we move to data link layer. So data link layer, one protocol which is there here is called Ethernet protocol. So this slide we were there in the morning. So this Ethernet protocol is nothing. It will have something called MAC address. So for each and every system in the network, you should have a physical address to that, right? And that address is called as a MAC address, media access control address, right? So this Ethernet protocol will craft an Ethernet frame, which is shown here. So this is nothing. This is the Ethernet frame, right? It is called Ethernet frame. So this frame will be converted into zeros and ones and will be sent to network, or you can say it is sent to the physical wire or Wi-Fi or any other media what we are using, right? So this frame will be converted to zeros and ones, binaries, right? High volume or high voltage, low voltage, right? So if you see this particular frame, Ethernet frame, it will always start with something called preamble. It's actually 7 bytes. It is called preamble. It's nothing. It is a patterns of alternative zeros and ones, which we were discussing in the morning. This is the alternative zeros and ones. So this is nothing. This is your preamble, right? From here to here is nothing. It is your preamble. Just 1 minute. Let me. Yeah. So here, this is what is you call as preamble. 1 minute. Let me stop sharing. Just give me a minute to start some application which is not getting started. Give me a minute. Yeah, now I guess it is correct. So I'll share again. Yes. So this is what is the preamble, which you can see here. Let me zoom it and I'll show you. This is one pattern, right? It is actually one pattern which is being shown to you. This is nothing. It is actually called as a preamble. So it's a zeros and ones, right? Zeros and ones. So this 7 byte, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 byte is nothing. It is a preamble. Now what it will do, as I told in the morning, it will synchronize the sender and receiver, right? It will synchronize sender and receiver. So this preamble sender will see, and it will continue to see that 1010. So up to here is a preamble. Then next is start of frame delimiter. This next 8-bit is nothing. It's a start of frame delimiter. What does that mean? It says that now after this, whatever is coming, it is Ethernet header, right? So from here to here is synchronization between sender and receiver. That's all, right? So after this particular pattern, it will see that now whatever is coming after this pattern is nothing. It is actually the header part of Ethernet. So if you see here, what is the Ethernet header in the slides, which has been mentioned, this is the Ethernet header, right? So this, after this Ethernet what is coming. So after that, it says the destination MAC address, the MAC address of the receiver. You have to type here. So MAC address is nothing, it's a 48-bit hexadecimal number which will be kept here, right? So how to know MAC address of your system? I'll type a command here. So if you see the command prompt here, I want to know my MAC address. So I'm on Windows, I'm typing this command, ipconfig/all, pipe it to more. I want to know the MAC address of my network interface. So if I'll do this, you can see that the MAC address of my Ethernet adapter, see, this is the Ethernet adapter. So it is using Ethernet protocol, right? This is the MAC address. If you see here, this is what is the MAC address. It's a 48-bit hexadecimal number. It's a physical address. You can see it is written, it's a physical address which is used in Ethernet protocol or data link layer protocol, right? So this is the MAC address. So this is my MAC address. Likewise, if I am the sender, you have to write the receiver's MAC address here in this particular Ethernet frame. Destination MAC address means receiver's MAC address, right? This is what is receiver's MAC address you have to specify. Then source MAC address. So if I am sending, I'll write my MAC address in this frame, right? So this is receiver's MAC address and then source MAC address. After that, what will happen? This field says it's a 2-byte. It's a 2-byte. This byte says that, or this field says that, what is the length of your Ethernet frame? Length of this particular Ethernet frame, right? That you have to mention here. So when this frame is getting handed, the other party should know, the receiver should know. Preamble, yeah, as I told you, preamble and SFD used for same purpose, synchronization. So SFD says that this is actually start of the frame delimiter. After that, whatever is coming is destination MAC address. After that, what is coming is destination MAC address. So that also will go into the binaries, zeros and ones, right? So hexadecimal will be converted into the binaries and binaries will be written here. So that hexadecimal number, what you have seen here, this is the source MAC address, my system MAC address. So if I'm sending to someone else in the LAN only, then here destination MAC address will come. This part will be written here, right? This part will be written here. So this up to here is nothing for synchronization between sender and receiver, what you're doing, right? Okay. So this is the length of the header, this header length, right? And then this is nothing, this is your data. Data means if you see here, 1 minute, there only will go. If you see here, this part is nothing. This part is, if you see my earlier slide, this part is this up to here, from here to here, right? This part is what is called data. So this is the header, what we were talking, this is a header. So that whatever preamble and all, it is part of header. So after header, we have the data which has come from network layer to here, to data link layer, right? So after header, this is the data part for data link layer, from here to here. And finally, this is, next is trailer. So trailer will be here in Ethernet frame. The trailer is called here is FCS. Now, what is FCS? FCS says that it is actually CRC. It is a CRC, cyclic redundancy check, to check whether this frame is having any issue or not, whether we have correct data set or not. So it will check whether any error has come during the transmission or not. So this is for error control. 4 bytes will be used for error control, right? So this is the Ethernet frame, and here it will use destination MAC address, source MAC address, the length of this full frame, and this is actually the IP packet which we have seen earlier, means the after header whatever is coming. So this is the header. So this is the packet up to here. This is the packet, right? Or from network it has come here. And then this is trailer. We are what you're adding. Trailer is nothing. It is CRC. It's a cyclic redundancy check, right? It is called frame check sequence, or CRC also you can say. It's called frame check sequence. This frame, whether it is correct or not, it will say. If it is not correct, then the information will be different here. So again, you have to resend the frame, right? So this is the data link layer protocol which we have talked. It is Ethernet protocol. So today, after this, we'll be using on something called Wireshark. In the Wireshark, we will actually see these details. When you are sending a traffic from one system to other system, these kind of details you can see in the Wireshark, and then you can imagine how actually it is working internally, right? So this is the Ethernet layer protocol. I hope this is clear. Now I'll move to next part. Network layer protocol. We are talking about network layer. This is Ethernet layer, or we can say data link layer protocol we are talking. Now let us talk about network layer protocol, which is called IP address, right? In the network layer protocol, IPv4 or IPv6, here we have a term called IP address. Now, what is IP address? Can you tell me? A question for you. What do you understand by an IP address? It is a unique address inside the LAN which will identify any system uniquely inside the LAN, right? It will identify uniquely system inside the LAN. So you can see here the same definition here. It's a numerical number assigned to each device, right? Which will uniquely identify that device inside the LAN at the IP protocol layer. At the IP protocol layer, right? Okay, so why we need IP address? Why we need IP address? You have seen that we can do the communication. Actual communication is happening through MAC address, but why we need IP address? Because we are following this protocol, and this protocol TCP/IP says that at the network layer, network layer, here it is called as an internet layer. Actual, it is called network layer is called here as an internet layer, and data link layer is called as a network interface layer. So application layer, transport layer, this is network layer at OSI, here it is called as an internet layer, right? So at the internet layer, or you can say network layer, you are using this protocol. So here you just assign the IP addresses, the IP addresses of the source or sender, IP addresses of the receiver that you have to mention. Here at the network interface layer, you have to specify IP address, MAC address of the sender, MAC address of the receiver. So that's why both MAC address and IP address is required for TCP/IP communication, right? Both MAC address and IP address is required for TCP/IP communication. So this is pretty important what you need to learn. You need to know it, right? So this already we have covered. So this is why we need IP address. You might have heard about IPv4. Anyway, you are using IPv6, the new kind of protocol, right, in IP. But what happened to IP version 1, IP version 2, IP version 3 and 5? Can you tell this answer? Anybody of you knows? What happened to IP version 1, 2, 3 and 5? Have you heard about this IP version 1, 2, right? If you know, you can type in the chat window. We know IPv4, IPv6. IPv6 is a new IP layer protocol. IPv4 is the old. But this kind of protocols, have you heard version 1, 2, 3 and 5? Okay, let me answer this question for you. Now, as I told you, IP address actually marks one hardware only. Why then MAC address? Why then MAC address? I clearly told you here, because you are following TCP/IP, you have 4 layers and each layer is doing some function. Each layer is doing some function. In network layer, see, in data link layer, you always use MAC address and this. At the network layer, you're using IP address. So that's why we need both IP address as well as MAC address, clearly mentioned, because we are following this TCP/IP. And TCP/IP says that at the data link layer, which is here, it is called network interface layer, you are using MAC addresses. Whereas in the network layer, which is called here as the internet layer, you always use IP addresses. So you need both IP address as well as MAC address. IP addresses will be used for routing and all from one router to other router, whereas actual it will use MAC address from one host to next host, next host, next host, and it will reach the destination. That we'll see we'll take one clear example when we do Wireshark. That time we'll do it. See, in case layers are compressed. No, what is that question? What is that question? Question is not clear, right? So the MAC or Ethernet itself is a protocol which does this. It needs a source MAC and destination. I'll get your answer when we'll see how packet traverse from one system to other system, right? That time we'll get to know the answer, right? So you are questioning not me, you are questioning to TCP/IP. Your question is not me, right? It is to TCP/IP, right? So better this actually, I'll tell that once you will get to know why actually MAC address is needed, because in the LAN always MAC will be used. WAN is in WAN, they'll use the IP addresses. Yeah, it is. The reason is that when you will get when I'll show you the practical, that time you'll get to know. Okay, so this question, let me answer. Now, what happened to IP version 1, 2, 3, and 5? Okay, as I told you, we have father of the internet, Bob Kahn and Wayne Cerf, right? The father of the internet is Bob Kahn and Wayne Cerf. What they did in 1974, they have written a research paper which is called A Protocol for Packet Network Intercommunication, which is later they have made it as RFC 675, right? They made this paper here, right? And that paper, when they submitted to this RFC, which was 675, this RFC, right? This RFC, see what is RFC first of all? Request for compliments or change. Now this RFC is nothing, it's a standard which is actually made by one organization which is called IETF, Internet Engineering Task Force. They only maintain the standards, right? So this is one standard for network communication, what they made. But this RFC was revised 3 times. This RFC is revised 3 times. So 4th time they accepted this particular RFC, right? This RFC was revised actually 4th time, right? 4 times. So that's why this Bob Kahn and Wayne Cerf says that we will start with our IP version 4. It should not be IP version 2, 1, 2, or 3. It will be starting with IP version 4. So that's why already we have IP version 4, right? Okay. And again, IP version 5 is still there, but it is used for experimental purpose, right? Which is called Internet Stream Protocol, IST protocol, right? So here we are using IPv5 also, but it is not in internet. It is for experimental purpose. And then we have IP version 6. So what you need to know, version 1, 2, 3 is nowhere there, but version 4, 5, 6 is there, right? Okay. Done. So let us try to revise IP version 4. Let us try to revise or learn what is IP version 4. So what is IP address? The IPv4 address consists of 32-bit. So this whatever IP address, if you see here, my IP address, I will show you the same command. If I type here, ipconfig. Ipconfig is a command which will give you the IP address of your system. If you say enter, now you can see here, I got one IP address. Can you see here? This is the IP address, right? So this is IP version 4 address, what is been given to me, right? So this IP address is of 32-bit. The length of this IP address is 32-bit, right? And if you see this length of this IP address is 32-bit, the total number of addresses which can be formulated using this 32-bit is what? 2 to the raise 32. 2 to the raise 32 means 4.2 billions of IPv4 addresses are available to you. 4.2 billions of IPv4 addresses are available to you. So if you see, this is the typical IPv4 address. So it is logically divided into 4 octets. So here also in my case also 4 octets are there. This is octet 1, octet 2, octet 3, octet 4. And each octet is noted into decimal notation. It is written into decimal notation. This is 1 decimal, 1 more decimal, 1 more decimal, 1 more decimal. Sorry. And each octet is actually divided, or you can see each octet is represented by decimal form and separated by dots. So this is separated by what? Dot. So this octet is separated by 1 dot. Again, 1 more octet is separated by dot, like that. So we have 4 dot. We have 3 dots actually in 4 octets, right? So this is a typical IPv4 addresses. So this decimal number will be converted to binary. This is the binary number. So this is an 8-bit number. So 8-bit, again 8-bit, again 8-bit, and 8-bit. So totally how many bits are there? 32 bits. Means 4 bytes. So IP version 4 will be always 4 bytes. So in the IPv4, we have classes of IP addresses. Class A, class B, C, D, E. We have different classes of IP addresses, right? So how to define those class? These are the classes. This is how the classes are defined. If you see class A, in the class A, this is what is the first octet. So each class says that the first octet only will decide what is the class, right? First octet. So here, if I open my MS Paint, and then here I'll say that I have octets. So this is one octet, dash, 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 dash. I'll say dash, 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 dash. So this is what 8 bits. This is first octet. Dot. Again, so if I say dot, then again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again you say dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And one more dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So how the classes is defined here. Now let me tell you how the classes is defined. Now this 8-bit will only decide which class is your IP address, right? This first 8-bit or first octet only will decide what is your class of IP addresses. So this is actually your 32-bit. So this is, you can say this is 32 bits. Okay, so one bit like that. So here in class A, if I say class A, or I'll say class A here. This can be kept here. Okay. Class A say that this first 8-bit will be like this. You set first bit as a 0 and remaining can be anything. So remaining can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This can be anything, right? Always set first bit as a 0, remaining can be anything. So remaining will, what will be the count of remaining? The count of remaining will be, so you can say it will become 0. So we'll say 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 8, right? 7, 8. 2, 0 fix, again 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 8. So if you see this 0, 0 is nothing 0, and this 0 is nothing 127. So if you calculate this, this is 127, right? So the range of class A is 0 to 127. The first octet I'm talking about, the first octet only. This next octets can be anything. I'm only talking about the first octet, this octet. So this octet says that always make first bit as a 0. Remaining bits can be from this to this, right? Okay. From this to this. So this will be 0. This is 127. And so here, if you see the slides here, the class A will be from 0 to 127. 0 is no more IP address, right? So they're starting from 1, right? So here, this you can see same thing. First octet will be 0. The range will be 0 to 111. Means 0 to 127, right? 0 to 127. So in class A, network first octet will be used for network. Remaining will be used for host. This will be used for network. This will be host. Now here, how many networks you can create in class A? So here you can see how many networks you can create. You can create in class A. 2 to the raise. How many bits are varying here? It is how many 7 bits are varying. So 2 to the raise. 2 to the raise. 1 minute. I just see where is that. This one. 2 to the raise 7 means 128 networks you can create in class A. How many hosts will be there? Host will be like this. This can be anything. So it can be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, right? So this remaining can be from 0, 0 to 1, 1, 1. Means 2 to the raise. How many bits are there now? 8 plus 8 plus 8 means 24 bits are remaining for host. So 2 to the raise 24 means this many networks or this many IP addresses will be available in class A series of IPv4 addresses, right? Same thing mentioned here, 2 to the raise 24 minus 2. They are saying that first address in the class, any class or any network will be always treated as a network ID, and last address will be treated as a broadcast ID. That's why 2 you are saying minus. So these many hosts will be there in class A. Similarly, class B. In class B, it says that first 2 bits you fix like this. So same thing if you mention here. Now again, class B, first 2 bits will be, it will be 1 0. Remaining can be 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? So remaining can be 1 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 2 1 0 1 2 3 4 5 6. So this will be always called as a 128. This will be 128, and this number will be 191. If you calculate this, this is 191. So class B always range from 128 to 191, right? In the class B, how many network can be there? So 2 bits are fixed here. So how many bits are remaining, which is varying here? 6 bits. So you can see 2 to the raise 6 bits. Means how many networks? You can see 2 to the raise. Okay, sorry. In class B, there are 2 network octets which is set. So 2 network octets. So here also network octet will be there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 network octets. So 2 to the raise. So here 6 plus 8, 14. 2 to the raise 14. So this will be 2 to the raise actually 14. So I'll just erase this. I'll remove this. It should be 2 to the raise 14. Why 2 to the raise 14? Because 2 bits are already set. You cannot change those 2 bits. So how many networks will be there? These many networks will be there. So how many hosts? You can see 2 octets are defined or used for host. So again, 2 to the raise 16 minus 2, right? 2 to the raise 16. These are 16, right? 8 bit, 8 bit. 2 to the 16 bit minus 2. Class C, same thing. Now 3 bits will be fixed as like this. Now you can calculate. You can imagine now. Imagine now. Here, if you see, these 3 bits are fixed, right? The remaining bits can be this. So remaining 5 can be like this. And class C, they say that 3 octets always will be used for network. Last octet will be used for host, right? So the range will be 192 to 223. Class D will be always used for multicast, and class E is using for experimental, right? So this E is not used on the internet. D will be for multicasting, right? Multicasting, D, they are using it. So mainly class A, B, C IP addresses are available for internet as well as for private, right? So any doubt here? I think this should be clear. Okay. Now let's talk about the private IP addresses. In IPv4, we have something called private IP addresses. Now, what do you mean by private IP address? Private IP address says that this private IP address will not be available onto the internet. It won't be available onto the internet. It is only local to the organization. It is used for intranet, not internet, right? So these are the private IP address, which is not routable, not part of the internet. It is not routable onto the internet. So in each class, class A, class B, class C, we have actually the private IP addresses, which can be used by the organizations to configure their LAN or whatever, right? So here in class A, this is the range of private IP address, right? It says that 10.0.0.02, 10.255.255.255. So these many class A private IP addresses are available for the organization, right? In class B, this is the range of private IP addresses, 172.16 to 172.13, 255. So these many class B private IP addresses. Similarly, class C, 192.168, 0.02, 192.168, 255, right? So these many class C private IP addresses. So these all are private. These all IP addresses are private. So you can see how many private IP addresses are there. These many. If you add 1, 2, 3, these many private addresses are available. But what about public IP address? What about public IP address? Public IP address is there onto the internet, right? It is routable onto the internet. It is actually part of the internet, whereas a private IP address is not part of the internet. So if you see the public IP address current state, millions of class A addresses are wasted. Yes or no? Both millions of class A and B also, so many addresses are wasted. Why? Because you are not using on internet. These are private to the organization. It is not part. So these many are wasted. It is not there on the internet, right? It could have been used on the internet, but this is not there on the internet. Again, the number of addresses in class C block is smaller than need of most of the organization. So here, the class C, if you see, this is smaller. If you talk about the organizations like Wipro, Infosys, they have more than say 5 lakhs systems. So they cannot use class C. They always use class B or class A, right? And D is used for multicasting. E is not used at all for experimental. So you can see out of 4.2 billions of IP address means 2 to the raise 32 means it is 4.2 billion IP addresses. How many are usable IP addresses on the internet? Only 2.7. More than 40% of IP addresses are wasted, which cannot be used onto the internet. Which cannot be used onto the internet. So these many IP addresses are actually wasted. Sorry, it is available. So many are wasted. So only 2.7 billion IP addresses are available for public IP addresses into the internet. So we need a new versions of IP protocol, which is actually IPv6, right? Why? Because you are talking about IoT devices nowadays. You are talking about smart cities, right? Or smart homes. There you have refrigerator, which should have actually IP address assigned, and that should be accessible by the end user outside, right? So those all kind of devices should have the unique public IP address assigned. So we need some new IP address number, because nowadays no more new IPv4 addresses are available, right? You cannot buy new IPv4 addresses because it's already exhausted. It is already used. All the IP addresses are used. So you need to migrate to IPv6. Now, if you see IPv6, I'll just cover a little thing about IPv6. So IPv6 is a new protocol, new standard in IP protocol, right? Which is commonly used in internet nowadays, right? Everybody using. If you see, if you are owning a Jio mobile phone or anything, you type what is my IP address on your mobile phone, you will get IPv6 address, not IPv4 address, right? So it will provide you a larger address space as compared to IPv4. So here you have 128-bit. IPv4, how many were there? 32 bits only. But now what? How many bits you are having here? 128 bits. So how many unique IP addresses you can create? 2 to the raise 128. If you calculate this on normal calculator, it won't be able to calculate. So you need a scientific calculator to calculate this value. So this value, if you calculate, it will count like this: 3.4 into 10 to the raise 38. So you can imagine how many huge IPv6 addresses are available to us to use it, right? This is one feature. It will provide you a larger address space. There are multiple features of IPv6 which you can discuss. So it will create, or it will allow you end-to-end connectivity. Means each and every device onto the internet can have, or on a network can have public IP address which can be accessed, because you have huge IP address series. You assign public IP address to each and every device you can access, right? So you can make your smart home, smart city, smart country. Again, IPv6 is auto configurable, means automatically IP address will be assigned. We need not to have a DHCP server. Automatically, whenever your system is there, your IPv6 is enabled, you will get an IP address. You can see in my system also, I got IPv6 address. If you can see here, this is what automatically I got IPv6 address. I have not assigned that. Automatically, this has been assigned by the protocol itself, right? Automatically, you'll get an IP address in IP version 6. Again, what other features are there? It is faster than IPv4, right? Because the header is being simplified. Again, it is providing you a security, inbuilt security, IPsec, right? Broadcast it is not supporting, because broadcast unwanted packets other people were getting, this is now not supported. And it has something called Anycast support, means same IP address can be assigned to multiple devices, right? Same IP address can be assigned to the multiple systems. So this is called Anycast support here. Again, you have an IP address which is assigned here, the same IP address, if you go to somewhere else, you can keep using it. So mobility is being provided by IP version 6. So these are some of the features, basic feature which I have discussed here, right, of IPv6. So nowadays, everybody is using IPv6 onto the internet. Means I'm talking about India. Now let us discuss a protocol called ARP, Address Resolution Protocol, right? Now I will take one simple example. Before discussing this, I will take a simple example. Sir, how to decide which private IP class is suitable for us? Your system using class A, we using class C. It depends on the policy or system administrator to manage. For example, if I use class A, right, 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255, right? Anything in between, I can get the IP address. But you want to actually manage your system that, okay, I should give only limited IP addresses, not all. Then you can use class C also. So it depends. You can even use class A, class B, class C, right? Any IP address will be okay. So I'll take a simple example here. How actually internet browsing is happening on my system. If I am typing something here, I am typing here www.cdac.in. This I am typing here, right? If you see here, this is what I am typing on my web browser. This is my web browser, right? I am typing here. I just want to tell you how actually the system will craft a packet, right? How this communication will happen, what they will write inside the layers, right? And then how communication will happen. This is what I wanted to show here. So if I am typing here www.cdac.in on my web browser and I say enter, some packets are being crafted, and then communication has happened. I got the reply and I will able to browse their website here, right? I'll be able to browse that website here. It's taking some time, so let it take time, but it will open that website. Now what will happen there in that case? Let me open one more paint. What will happen in that case? So I will say that I have something called source, 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 right? Or sender, or you can say sender. Then you have something called destination, or this is receiver, right? Receiver, sender or receiver. You can see my this web page is open. How actually I got this web page, that I wanted to show you, right? So sender means my system. If you see this IP address of my system, what is IP address of my system? 10.182.2.221. What is the MAC address of my system? This is the MAC address of my system, right? So what actually is happening here? Sender, what it will do? It will try to craft a TCP/IP packet, TCP/IP packet, where it will write something. So it will write something in that packet. Okay, so here this is nothing. It's an application layer. If I say this is nothing, it's an application layer, right? So it is crafting a packet. This will become application layer, right? So in the application, I am typing here what on the browser www.cdac.in. On Firefox, I am typing this. Then at the application layer, it will say that I am doing a web browsing, means I am trying to access a web server, means I will use a protocol, and that protocol is what? HTTP or HTTPS, right? So the application layer, they will say that this is HTTP, HTTPS. Inside that, they will write www.cdac.in. I want to get this website. So get, they will write here. I'll just write here, get this website. This is what I am typing here. Means our system will type here. So in this application layer here, this will be written, right? Then what will happen? You talked about transport layer. TCP/IP I'm talking about. Next is what? Transport layer. Or I'll say transport layer here. At transport layer, what will happen? It will write something. So always, as I told you, HTTP means you want connection oriented. You want your data to be delivered successfully. I want this web page to open here successfully, right? Nothing should be missing here. Nothing should be missing here. Means connection oriented. Means I will always use what? Here at transport layer, I will use TCP protocol. I will not use UDP because that is connection less. I don't know whether this website I'll get or not, but TCP will guarantee that you'll get this website here if that connection is there, if the web server is up and running, right? So I got this website because of HTTP always use TCP at the transport layer. So they will write here TCP into the transport layer. Now here TCP will say that I have something called source port. I have something called destination port. Or I will say D port, destination port. Now, what do you mean by source port? Port will actually do the session management. It will do the session management. For example, this Firefox you are running here. I have run this Firefox here. If I'm again opening, suppose same website, cdag.in. So one more tab I'm opening here. So which session? This session or this session? How to count? So suppose here also I did refresh. There also I did refresh. Both the same website. Now where to put which content? Who will maintain? The Firefox will say that I will write some port. For this session, one port, random port. It is a random port. So this is the port number. So port number always will be, say, 16-bit. It is 16 bits. So random number I am putting. Source port will be random number for this. Again, one more random number for other tab. Right? So session management will be done here by this, right? Session management by with this. Now here, destination port. So this, I guess this part is clear. This part is clear. One question is there. What question is that? How DNS available at TCP? Till now, we have not come across the DNS route. DNS has not come till now. I'll just discuss that later. So how transport layer? No. Your application knows. Application knows that if I'm using HTTP or HTTPS, always use TCP. So at the transport layer, always TCP protocol will be kept there. Because application layer, application knows that my data has to be delivered somehow, or I need to get that website somehow, right? So always I use TCP. So this protocol always use TCP only. The HTTP always will use TCP, right? Then destination port. Now this web server which is running here on this destination is what? Suppose this web server is running on port called 80. Web server will be always using port 80 or 443 for secure, right? So suppose, so what port number they will write? They will write either 80 or 443, whatever is there. So currently let me write 80. Suppose that it is not secure connection, I will write 80. So this part is clear. Transport layer I have put something. Source port means port of to identify this tab, and destination port on the receiving side where it is running, where that application is running. So in destination side, a lot of applications are running. Suppose I am running Apache, then I am running SMTP. Apache will use 80 port, SMTP will use some other port. So this is the destination port, right? So transport layer we have put. Now next is what? Network layer. Next is what? Network layer. So here you can say this is nothing, it's network layer. Or it is in TCP/IP, it is called internet layer, right? Now here what you will write? You will write up, suppose if I am using IPv4, suppose I am using IPv4, then source IP and destination IP, right? Then source IP and destination IP. Now what is the IP of source? IP address of my system. What is the IP address of my system? This address will be written always. 10.182. Whatever. I'll just say edit, copy this, say paste here. My IP address will be written. And what is the IP address of destination? What is the IP address of www.cdac.in? That I need to know. That I need to know. Who will tell me? Some other service which is running, which is called DNS server, that will tell me. Right? So that will not discuss here. Suppose the IP address of destination is 8.8.8.8. I got to know from some application that IP address for www.cdac.in is, suppose some IP address, I'll say 14.139.152.100. This is the destination IP address, right? So network layer is pakka clear. I have said what is my IP address, what is the receiver's IP address. This packet which I'm crafting here to open this website, this is what I have to write at network layer. And finally, I'll write at the data link layer, right? Data link layer or network interface layer. Here it is called network interface layer in TCP IP, but we'll just see it is data link layer. In data link layer, I will use Ethernet protocol because I'm using my NIC card. NIC card will always use Ethernet protocol. In the Ethernet protocol, you have a preamble and all. You might have seen that. So they're asking source MAC address. What is the MAC address of source? And what is the MAC address of destination? Now, what is the MAC address of source? I can get. This is my system. This is my source, right? Physical address, MAC address of source is this. This I'll type here. And this I'll paste here. This is my source MAC address. Now, destination MAC address. What is the MAC address for www.cdac.in? Nobody knows. Because it is there somewhere onto the internet. Some system is there. That MAC address, how I'll get to know? So what I'll do, I will send the packet to my router. Default gateway is called. So you send it to router. So I need to know the router's MAC address, right? So in between what you have, router. So you write router's MAC address, means packet has to go to router now. It will not go directly there because that MAC address of that we don't know. In between we have a lot of routers. So I need to write the MAC address of the router, means next hop. So in between I have a router here. You can see this is nothing. It is a router. Right? You have a router here. So destination MAC means MAC address of the router. So suppose router's MAC address, in my case, you see what is the router's MAC address. If you see here, my router is default gateway. This is my router. I need to know what is the MAC address of my router. How to know? You have a protocol called ARP, Address Resolution Protocol, which will resolve your IP address to MAC address inside the LAN. Right? It will resolve the IP address to MAC address inside the LAN. So ARP, if I say -A, I already have one table. I want to know in that table what is the MAC address of my gateway, right? So MAC address of the gateway is, you can see here. Let me see here. It will show, yeah. So you can see here, this is my gateway, which was mentioned there earlier. If you go up, scroll up. Not scrolling. Okay. Now it is come. So you can see this is my gateway, means router's address. 2.1 means the packet has to go to router, right? And what is the MAC address of the router is clearly mentioned here. This is the MAC address of the router. So this MAC address will be put here. So what is source MAC? My MAC. Destination MAC will be this, means router's MAC address. Now this packet will be moved here through our switch. So this, how this router is connected to my system? Through a network switch. So I have one network switch, and from this network switch, this system is connected, right? This system is connected, and even from that switch, our router also is connected, right? So this packet will use MAC address. So the switch will be what it will use. It is layer 2 switch. Switch will not know the IP address. It will only see the MAC addresses. So it will see who is the source MAC address, my system MAC address. Who is the destination MAC address, routers. So switch will put this packet to router. Now it will send this packet to router. So here in the LAN, as I told you, in the LAN, always we use what? MAC addresses for the communication. Right? In the LAN, what we are using? MAC as address for the communication. So it will see, switch will see that, okay, the packet will be reaching this port, right? Here switch will see that, okay, source MAC address is one system. Destination MAC address is the router system, right? Switch already knows the MAC address of all the routers which is connected here. It will forward the packet to this particular router. Now this full packet is reached here, which you have crafted here. This packet which you have crafted will be reaching the router. Now from this router, again you are connecting to one more router through the switch, or we can say directly disconnected. For example, directly disconnected. So one more router. This is the router at my end. This is router at BSNL end, right? After BSNL, some more router is there. Suppose this router is at, say, Pune somewhere, right? So how many 3 routers? So this router again will see. It will see who is the source MAC. This will rewrite. Source MAC means MAC address of the router. So this full packet, this only Ethernet part, it will rewrite. It will say that source MAC address means MAC address of the router. This destination will be MAC address of the next router. So this packet will be sent to this. Again here, source MAC will be MAC address of this router. Destination MAC address of the next router. Here, the packet will be moved here. After that, the full packet. This full packet, again, if you see here, one switch will be there or something will be there, some LAN will be there. And what will happen? The other system, this is the destination system. Here, this full packet will be reached. This full packet will be reached. Right? Here, this packet will be reached. Right? So always router will open up to here, right? So it may be somewhere, you can have multiple routers. For example, if you see here, here we have one more router. This router is connected to 2 routers, this router or that router. Now, whom to send, whether we have to send to here or here, how you will decide? You will check the IP addresses. You will not check the MAC addresses. You will check the IP addresses now. So in the router part, you will use the IP address. Suppose this router is connected to 2, 3, 4 routers. Where to send? Which router have to forward this packet address? So this packet. So it will see destination IP is 14.139. Source will be always same. Destination will be 14. What this router will do? It will say that I have to send to this destination means I have to forward this router. So what is the MAC address of this router? That has to be written here. Right? So this is how actual communication happen between one system to other system. In between, lot of routers will be there. They will forward. So if you see this website which is been opened, we don't know. It may be some 10 routers which has come in between and it has reached to the destination. Again, that destination has replied back this packet to us saying that this is your website, you can use it. And we received the website. So destination also, they crafted a new packet. Again, the packet has come from here to here. One question is there, a router MAC address seems not correct. Kindly have a look. It seems SMAC. Okay. I pasted the same thing here. Sorry, it is correctly. This router MAC address is not copied here. See, this is not copied here. This would have been copied. This is not copied. I'll say edit and say copy, and this I'll delete it. I'll delete this. Right, and I will say here this and say paste. Paste option is not coming from one side. Yes, now this is the destination MAC address, correctly identified by Manoj. Right. So you understood a rough idea how the packet is being transferred. So why these layers are so important, right? So this each and every router, they will open up to the network layer. Up to here only they will open. They will see what is the source MAC, destination MAC, and what is the source IP, destination IP. So if multiple routers are connected to a router, where to send, it will decide using the destination IP address. So if this destination IP address is this, means I always have to, I have routing table in that it mentioned that you forward to this next router. Don't forward here. So to send to this next router, what is the MAC address of that router? I need to write here in the packet which is sent here. Okay, so where SIP translation happen? What does that mean? I'm not getting this question. SIP translation. One question is there where SIP translation happens, right? So, source IP translation. Source IP translation. This always will be same. Source IP will be IP address of this only. This never ever will be changed. This part it only see, it cannot change, but this part they are changing. Source IP will never ever change. Source IP will be IP address of this my system, right? So this will not change. So if this router, suppose this is the private IP address, to convert this private to public IP address, my gateway knows. My gateway knows. So using NATing I will do. So this source IP address, this will be replaced with my IP address there in the new packet. That is called NATing, network address translation. So suppose this is internet IP address, then it will not be changing at all. If this is the internet IP address, it will not change. But I am using inside. That's why I use some NATing technology here, which actually does network address translation to convert private IP to public IP, and then it will reach to internet. Private IP to public IP, and then it will reach to internet. So I guess this part is clear. So we have something called ARP here, which is very important. We have something called ARP here. Is the MAC address printed on the networking hardware? Sometimes a networking hardware they will print, sometimes they won't print. For example, if you say that I have a Wi-Fi router, that Wi-Fi router MAC address will be always printed. They'll print it and give it to you. Otherwise, if you see my system, never ever on my system this is printed, right? MAC address will not be printed. Okay. So ARP protocol, you know what it does? It will map the IP addresses with the MAC addresses, right? IP addresses with the MAC address. ARP will do the same thing. What I took example there, same thing is mentioned here. This is the source IP. This is the destination IP, right? And it is connected to a network, a LAN, a network switch, right? That switch knows that this source IP, MAC address of this port is this, MAC address of that port is this. The one switch is kept here, right? This is nothing. This Ethernet is, suppose it is a switch, right? Now, source IP and destination IP is this. What is the MAC address of this destination? I need to know. So I will say, I will send an ARP request. So this is the request which will be sent here. This is the case one where internal communication is happening, not router. So in case one, what is there? It says, I want to know the IP address of this system. Sorry, MAC address of this system. I want to know the MAC address of this IP address. So I will broadcast a packet inside this LAN saying that, please tell me who is owning this IP address. Give me your MAC address. So it will broadcast inside the LAN. So this switch will get a broadcast message which will send the packet to everybody. Now suppose this guy is owning this IP address. This guy will send that, okay, I am here. This is my MAC address, and that was my IP address. This is my MAC address. So here, this MAC address entry will be put inside the ARP table of this system. Saying that again for next 2 minutes, if I want to have some communication, I'll use the same MAC address and it will be sent to here, right? So the Ethernet frame will go from this system to this system using this MAC address. So this is the destination MAC address. So switch will see, I have to forward to this system because this system is having this MAC address. So always it will go to that. It will not reach to these two systems, right? So case two, in between, if router is there, this already I have taken the example. This is the example which I have taken. This in this case, if router is there, what will happen? If router is there, then again, what will happen? Again, I am asking who has the MAC address of this IP address. Suppose this IP address is in this LAN. Now what is happening? Router will reply saying that this is not part of your network. You please give it to me. I will forward to other network. So always packet will come to router, and then router will forward to this system, right? If it is directly connected, or router may forward to other routers where it will be sending to other routers next hop on, then finally it will be reaching to the system, right? So this is ARP, address resolution protocol. It will check what is the MAC address of a particular IP address, right? It is called ARP. So always the system will maintain the ARP cache. This is the ARP cache or ARP table. So which I have also shown you. So my ARP table is this. So how to know the ARP table? You will type this command. So in your system, if you type this command, it will show the ARP table list which is there with you, right? So I say ARP minus A pipe it to more, right? ARP minus A pipe it to more. Show me my ARP table. It has shown me. Then I have seen that this is my gateway. This is other systems, and all systems MAC addresses I am already having. If I am not having, then I'll broadcast saying that please tell me the MAC address of this IP address. They will reply back to me. If they are not sending, then I cannot send this packet to anybody, right? Okay, so this entry will be kept for say next 2 minutes, right? This entry will be kept in your ARP table or ARP cache for next 2 minutes. So this was one protocol which is called ARP. Now IP header, let us talk about. Now what do you mean by IP header? Now let us go back to our previous slides and this particular slide where we were having this. Now here, as I told you, IP means network layer always supports a protocol called IP. In that we have IPv4, IPv6, right? So here we have a network header. We have network layer header means IPv4 header. So this is nothing, it's IPv4 or IPv6 header. So this part we are discussing now. What is this header? How this header will look like? And this is nothing, it's data which is coming from other layer to this layer, and they will add a header. So this header and data will be there, right? Header and data. So this header, network header, is what? Is IPv4 header we are discussing now. So this is what is IPv4 header. This we are discussing now. Now, what do you understand? What do you mean by IPv4 header? So in IPv4 header, number one thing, what is there is a version, right? Header will have some names or some options are written. In header, we have version, we have internal header length, type of service, total length, identification, flag, and all. So many things are there. We'll just see one by one briefly. Now, what is version? Version says that whether this is the IPv4 packet or IPv6 packet. Version says that whether this is the IPv4 packet or IPv6 packet. So if you see here, this version can be IPv4 or IPv6. If IPv4, then this will be written here, right? So version means they are actually having 4 bits. 4 bits will be written, will be like this: 0, 1, 00, right? 4 bits will be written like this. Next is internet header length, means what is the length of this header? That length of this header can be very variable size, right? So currently for this packet, what is the length of the header? This is of, again, say 4 bits, right? 4 bits. So 4 bits will be, it can be from 0000 to 1111, right? It is of, say, 4 bits. Now next is type of service, whether you want any service urgent or not, right? Suppose I want to send one packet very urgently. So what if I say here type of service means urgent? So in urgent, this packet will be treated as urgent and it will be sent first. Other packets can be discarded, right? So by default, urgent service won't be there, but in some cases, whenever it is required, that time it will be using as a type of service or quality of service, right? So this can be, say, next 8-bit, right? After that, in the header part only, total length. what is the length of your header plus your data. So length of your header plus your data means what? If you go back this slide, what is the length of your header from here to here? What is the length? From here to here, what is the length? This is nothing, it's the header. So in the header, we have checked already, it is what is the version, then internal header length, then quality of service, right? Then what is the actually length of full header plus up to here? So kitna size, what is the size of that? It will show you, right? Apart from that, we have next thing there in that header is what? Yeah, identification. Identification is what? Right? Identification says that, sorry, you have, 1 minute, sir. I'm just zooming. So for every packet, you have some unique identification number. For every packet, you have a unique identification number. To identify this packet, they will assign some number, right? That number is nothing. This is the identification. So it's a 16-bit number which will be kept to that packet. It will be assigned to that packet, right? This is nothing. It's identification, right? Now next is what? You have fragmentation. Whether you want to break the packet and send or not, right? Whether you want to break and send. So these flags will be used for the fragmentation, right? Then you have to say TTL. What is the time to leave for this packet in the network? This packet should not be traversing the network forever. So it says that only say for up to 8 hop, you discard this packet. Up to 9 hop, you discard the packet. Up to say 100 hops, you discard the packet. So this is called time to leave. Now protocol says that what is the next protocol which is used inside this. For example, I am using either TCP or UDP. What protocol has been used here, right? That has been mentioned here in this protocol. Whether you have used TCP or UDP, that protocol will be coming here. Now here, this is the checksum, means it will say that whether any error is there in this header or not. This particular value will calculate and it will see that whether any error has come in this particular header or not. If any error is there, this full packet has to be discarded. Then you have to say source IP address and destination IP address, which we have mentioned here. You see here, which we have mentioned here. This network layer, source IP address and destination IP address. Apart from that, lot of information was there, which we have not written here. Right? Then this part will come. What is the source IP address and destination IP address? And there are some other options which you can use it, right? And after that, data will come. So this is the header. Up to here, it will be header. Then the data will come, actual data, right? Actual data means the data which is meant for this protocol, this part, which now 10th time I'm showing you this part. This is nothing, a data for this header or for this network layer protocol IPv4, right? So this is nothing, it's a TCP or you can say IP version 4, right? IP version 4 header. This header we'll see when we'll do the Wireshark experiment, right? In next session. So we'll do one thing, we'll take a break here for say 10 minutes. Any question if you have, please write in the chat window. Okay, let us see whether we got some question or not. Can you MAC address reconfigured to one question from Kaushik is there. Can the MAC address be reconfigured at all for particular device, or it is obviously static like IMEI number? See, it should be static like IMEI number. It should be, but people are there who the hacker who actually will change this MAC addresses, right? You can change your MAC addresses, right? But it will be always static only. In the network interface card, it is written in the hardware, this is your MAC address, right? NIC card, it is written that this is your MAC address. It should not be changed, but hackers are there who will override that, change it. But it should not be changed. Like hackers will also change their IMEI number also sometimes, right? They have a method to change that. So here also you can have a method, but it should be always fixed, right? When the CIC of the Ethernet, what is important header checksum? See, this header checksum means for this header, any problem is there or not. See, that CRC is for only Ethernet packet. This CRC is for Ethernet. Whether this problem with this header or not, it will not check whether the problem with this data. No. So, but how to check problem with the previous layer? They will also have some checksum, right? So this check only for this particular, right? It is not for data. Okay, is there some other MAC addresses than physical MAC address? Is there some other MAC address than, I am not getting this question from Saurabh. Is there some other MAC address than the physical MAC address? See, we should have only one MAC address, right? For one interface, it should be one MAC address. If you have multiple interfaces, two MAC addresses will be there for one system, but the interfaces are different. The physical interfaces are different, right? But for one MAC address, you should have one physical interface. You should have one MAC address. Okay, we'll take a break now for 10 minutes. We'll resume at say 16:14. Hey, 16:14, right? So we'll take a break. We'll take a break right here. We'll take a break of 10 minutes. Resume at 16:14, right? Okay, thank you. I'll be back.